No voice in our ears but the more. We relish the sound of its call. We'll thunder and feast on any man, any beast. Doesn't matter, we'll snack on them all. The stragglers we didn't consume are dropped in our sacrifice stew. They scream and they run, but that's part of the fun, 'cause the ogres are coming to get ya! There's jumping on knees, feeding our guts, we are swallowing trees, tearing, chewing, we kill all the more. The power and wrath what we're going for. Crunching and biting, we kill for the more. The power and wrath what we're doing it for.
Alright, Legend Total War here, and today we have got a lot of things to talk about, but starting with the Ogres being the pre-order race for Total War Warhammer 3, which I'm definitely excited to play the Ogre Kingdoms, but I was a little bit disappointed in terms of the actual application of the Ogre Kingdoms. I'll get more onto that in a little bit. So, loads and loads of things to talk about. We got the trailer, which I thought was really good. We got launch date, we got Game Pass, we got a blog to go through, we got screenshots to go through, and just loads of other stuff to talk about. All right, starting firstly with the trailer. I thought it was a good trailer. I wasn't expecting a cinematic trailer. I thought it would be another in-engine one, but yeah, I thought it was a good cinematic trailer. Yeah, I enjoyed it. And we've got some... There's not a lot of information to gather from here, but one thing that we can gather is the confirmation of the main Ogre... Let me just get it. There we go. The main Ogre Legendary Lord, Fat Bastard from Austin Powers. So I actually got in touch with Creative Assembly and got some of his voice lines in the game. So that you guys could hear it, and I'll play it over the thing so that you can hear what he's going to sound like in game.
Get in my belly! Come on!
Anyway, a little bit of a joke there for you. Hopefully you found it funny. If not, might be a bit cringe, whatever. But yeah, it's not actually Fat Bastard. It's look, when I first saw him, I thought, man, he looks exactly like Fat Bastard from Austin Powers, but it's Greaser's Goldtooth, the over tyrant of the Ogre Kingdoms, he's going to be the melee lord for the ogres, and there's two legendary lords. The other one is Scrag the Slaughterer. Now, I wasn't sure if I was going to be allowed to mention that it was Scrag the Slaughterer, but it got leaked anyway, so it cat's out of the bag, so it doesn't really matter at this point anyway, because there's always a bloody leak. So those of you who frequent the Reddit, you already knew that this was coming. And, I mean, most people predicted that Ogre Kingdoms were coming. In fact, there was just only one person in the community that was just like, thinking that it was going to be the ogre, that it was going to be the Chaos Dwarfs, and even bet like $500. What an idiot that it would be the Chaos Dwarfs, and that idiot was me. So my powers of prediction are really, really bad. So yeah, I have no problem with it being Ogre Kingdoms. I'm not disappointed at it being the Ogre Kingdoms at all. I'm only a little bit disappointed in how they're applying it, and I'll get to that in a bit. Okay. So Greaser's Goldtooth, the other one's Scrag the Slaughterer. Now I've got a screenshot here of Scrag the Slaughterer. Here. So he is going to have his cauldron attached to his back. I did see a couple of comments were like, oh, I didn't know if he was going to have his cauldron attached. Yeah, he does have his cauldron attached. He does have the, he's going to be the spellcaster. He's got the Law of the Great Maw, I think. And he's got his arms cut off by, I can't remember. It's just a bit of lore. He had his arms cut off because he fed a tyrant, not Greasus, his favorite Noblar. So Noblars are similar to goblins, not exactly the same as goblins. They're kind of like the smallest version of greenskins. These guys are so pathetic that basically what they do is they're like a symbiotic race to the ogres, where in order to survive, they've latched themselves into the society of stronger beings just for the hope of survival. And the thing is, the ogres, all they want to do is eat. So they have these these skinny little Noblars, which don't take up much food, to do all the shit that they don't want to do. You know, scratch their ass, basically do all the stuff. I wouldn't call them slaves, but not much better off. And they'd have something of a functioning society for, you know, dumbasses. And anyway, we got Scrag the Slaughterer here, and Greaser's Goldtooth. Okay, I don't think that's all they definitely have other legendary lords that they could have introduced. I think by only putting in 2 Ogre Kingdoms lords on launch leads me to believe that an Ogre Kingdom DLC, so a DLC for DLC, is coming at some point in Warhammer 3, because there's I know one of the other Ogre's lords is primarily a mercenary. His last name is Maneater. I can say his first name, Golg. Can't really say it because the YouTube will be like, nope, you can't say that word. But you know, just Golg something Maneater. Then I think that guy will come at some point, because I think he's a fairly iconic character, and there might be others because they've got a few named characters. I can't imagine they're ever going to get more than 4. But I think the Ogre Kingdoms are a very popular race, probably more popular than Chaos Dwarfs. The only reason I thought that it would be Chaos Dwarfs is because I thought that they would fit into Warhammer 2's map. And again, I'll go on to that in a little bit. Okay, so let's now talk about the blog. I'll get that up. I've only got a screenshot of it because the blog isn't actually available to show yet, because currently it's 9:17 p.m. This is about 4 hours before this video will be released. I know that some of you will look at the time and be like, oh, he's doing it he's from the future. It's like, some people, you're either idiots or you deliberately, the time zones, Australia's way ahead of the UK in terms of time zones, okay? That's why. Anyway, let's go over some of these things. I'm not going to go over everything. There's some information here that could benefit you guys. Now, one thing I want to talk about before I get into this, some of the stuff I'm going to talk about is positive, some of it's negative. This isn't all just going to be like, yeah, super excited, pre-order now. I just don't do that. You know, we take it as it is. But I'm going to be going over a couple of things fairly thoroughly, because I really want to make sure, like I said before, I don't work for Creative Assembly. I work for you guys as a collective group. That doesn't mean you're my boss. You can't necessarily tell me what to do. It is in my best interest to make sure that I just do right by you. Okay, and I'm going to try my best to do that. That's all I'm saying. So, there are some things that people have been caught out for in the past, and I want to try to prevent that as much as possible this time around, because nobody wins when there's outrage. It just isn't good. Outrage is probably the worst way to get a message across to Creative Assembly. I've been around for a while now, and I've used outrage, and I tell you, it doesn't work. They just close their ears to it. All right, so we'll get to that. All right, so first thing, what is the total Warhammer 3 release date? Warhammer 3 will release on the February 17th, 2022. Awesome. I thought it was going to be in March. Going to be a bit earlier than that. That's cool. I mean, us YouTubers, it sucks because that means early access will be in January, and January is the worst time for ads, but I don't give a crap. I want to play it now. It would be better for me if it came out in December. I thought it was going to be in March, so I was happy that it was going to be earlier. The fact that I'm going to be making videos in January doesn't really bother me that much. Okay. So, which platforms will Total Warhammer 3 be available on? So, Warhammer 3 will be available on PC and also be available as close to launch day as possible on Mac OS and Linux, thanks to our friends at Feral Interactive. We'll be confirming exactly when, close to the date. All right, this is one thing that people get caught out on a lot, and I see this a lot with the reviews on any time a DLC or a main game is released, that basically the Mac OS and Linux guys, you guys are not prioritized, essentially. Your version of Total War Warhammer will not be available on February 17th. So there's always like a couple of negative reviews on launch day from Mac users. I can't use it. I have it on Mac, and I thought it would be available on Mac. It will be available on Mac, but it's never available on the same day. So you have 2 options. You either wait until it is going to be available, which will be either a week or 2 weeks, or you can install it on PC. Those are your option. If you want to whinge about it, that's totally your choice, but you're not doing anything helpful, okay? Posting a negative review, and again, I don't care if you post a positive or negative review, I only care that you're honest about it and that you're not posting bullcrap. If you want to post a negative review because you can't play it on February 17th, Creative Assembly have told you here, okay? And if you've been warned and been informed about it and you still go ahead and do it anyway, I can't help you, man. I just can't help you, and I want to, you know. So just it would be great if we could see another launch that doesn't have those kind of reviews, because those kind of reviews muddy the water. Because when games are released for Total War, I'm very keenly reading the reviews, seeing what you guys are saying and that kind of stuff, because I want to shape what I'm doing based on what you guys want to see. And if I'm seeing reviews that are like, oh, I can't play it because I'm a Mac, you just waste my time, man. Okay, which stores will Total War Warhammer 3 be available through? You can pick up your copy of Total War Warhammer 3 on Steam, Epic Game Store, and Microsoft Store. So yeah, it's going to be available on Game Pass now. Creative Assembly were very excited about that, as much as they were excited about the Epic Game Store. But because it was over a year ago now that they were like, Epic Game Store for Troy and other Total War games, it's going to mean more people play Total War. I didn't see that. I don't know if that's actually true or not. But I tell you what, my numbers didn't go up because of Troy at all. So, but then again, I didn't really cover Troy, so that might have been my own fault. I kind of feel like anybody who plays these kind of games kind of already has Steam, but that might just be me being a boomer. But if this, like, let me know in the comments below, because I just don't know. Are you somebody that only has the Microsoft Store, and you'll definitely be purchasing on a Microsoft Store on Game Pass, and you would never have purchased it on Steam or Epic Game Store? If you're one of those people, please let me know, because, like, Creative Assembly was super excited about this, and I was just like, I don't fucking care. Anyway, you can purchase your copy directly from Creative Assembly here. The only difference is that the more price you pay will go directly to studio. All right, I really want to talk about that sort of stuff as well. Totally fine with however much of a cut Creative Assembly wants to get. The more money that goes to the developer, the longer the game will be supported. That's a good thing. A lot of that money will, of course, go to executives, but it needs to reach a certain threshold in order for the game to keep getting support. That's just how it is. But another important thing is that when you purchase keys from third-party sites, whether it be from Instant Gaming, which is the one that I support, and I'm not telling people at this point here to pre-order. Okay, I'm just saying if you are going to purchase it from G2A, Kinguin, wherever, check what version you're getting. Okay, because every game store will indicate whether the key is for Steam, Epic Game Store, and Microsoft Store. Okay, you might find an amazing price. Well, I'll use Instant Gaming as an example because that's the one I'm associated with. Chances are most of the keys on them are going to be Steam, but let's just use a devil's advocate example. Let's just say you've got Warhammer 1 and 2 on Steam, and you go onto Instant Gaming and you find a key there that's like really super cheap, and you purchase it, and it's for the Microsoft Store. That's your fault, okay? It won't be compatible for that. You need to check this stuff. All of the third-party stores will indicate what platform it will be for. Check that stuff, okay? I've been caught out by that stuff as well, so I'm not trying to shame you for being a fool. I've been caught out. I remember I purchased I can't remember. I think it might have been Witcher 2 a long time ago, and I purchased it for a platform I didn't have, and I was like, oh, God damn it! Now I had to purchase it twice because I purchased it once, and I couldn't be asked refunding it, so I just purchased it again. I actually bought the Steam key because I bought from a third party site. This was a very long time ago, and I just didn't check. So just make sure that you check. Don't get caught out. You have to purchase Warhammer if you're going to purchase it. You need to purchase all of your Total War Warhammer products on one game store. Okay, whether that be on Steam, Epic, or Microsoft, I don't really care. But you want to make sure that if you're going to do that, that you get the full experience of Mortal Empires, because that's the most enjoyable for me, at least in Warhammer 2, and I imagine will be for Warhammer 3. Don't get caught out by that, because I know if I don't say this, a lot of people will. I'm sure 99% of you are going, come on, Legend, move on. This is fucking boring. We have to move at the pace of the slowest person. People are going to get caught out by this. I guarantee it. Okay? All right, is the Game Pass for PC version any different? No, it's the same. It's the same as normal. Special editions. Okay, we'll come on to these images here in a bit, but I don't really care too much about like physical copies of Warhammer 3. If you do, that's great. I actually went and looked into my local game store, and I couldn't find. They didn't have any PC games available anymore, so I'm pretty much reserved to just always have digital copies of stuff now. I understand collector's editions can be very useful, and I would get the collector's edition, but it's not available for me. But whatever. So I'm just gonna move over. Obviously, the pandemic has an impact on that. All right. So, are there any plans for any Total War Warhammer 3 content to be exclusive to a particular store? No. So all 3 stores will get it simultaneously. So that's good. Will Total War Warhammer and Total War Warhammer 2 be available on the Epic Game Store and Windows Storefront in the future? Yes, we hope to add these games in the DLC to both storefronts in the future. Okay, be wary of this. This is very vague. It doesn't give you a definite date. If you are going to purchase Warhammer 3 on Games Pass or on Epic Game Store, you might need to be prepared for the fact that Warhammer 1 and 2 may not be available to be purchased on those platforms when Mortal Empires for Warhammer 3 launches, which means you might have to wait. So my recommendation is, if you are going to purchase it, to do so on Steam, because that's the only one currently that I can guarantee you will have Warhammer 1, 2, and 3 when Mortal Empires come out. But that's entirely up to you. I just want you to have the right information. Alright, can I purchase DLC for Total Warhammer games I own on one store or another? We've kind of already covered this. No, you can't. So pick a storefront and stick with it. I already covered that. Will Warhammer 3 have access to cross-store multiplayer? Yes, which I think is good. I don't personally involve myself in multiplayer, I just don't enjoy it, but I think more multiplayer support is good. I would really like to see the return of Avatar Conquest, which was one of the best elements of Shogun 2. I imagine the main reason why they ditched it, probably because they didn't feel like it sold that well. But I think it would be good if they supported more multiplayer, even if I'm not personally going to enjoy it, because I think if there are more game modes and just more in the game, it will entice more people to actually buy it and enjoy it, which benefits everyone. But Creative Assembly makes these decisions; it's up to them. One thing I think they really missed out on with multiplayer was actually painting your own armies and like going in, like have an army painter. It seemed, why did they not do that for Warhammer? And you could even have cosmetic DLC. Why did they not do that? That's exactly what the Warhammer community buys, except with plastic. And you could have done it digitally. It just seemed like such a... I don't know. It's their money. They're the ones that missed out. It just seems like such a missed opportunity. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know. Whatever. I mean, I wouldn't have done it, but other people would have, I think. Anyway, early adopter bonus. I'm going to come back to more information about the early adopter later. I just want to deal with the rest of this blog because I've got a lot to say about the early adopter bonus. Okay. Will Warhammer 3 reviews and land before game is released? Yep. So the way it usually goes, and that's not an indication that it will go here, but usually the review embargo is 1 day before the game is launched. So there will be so many people asking, I'm just going to have to prepare for it, what do you think about Warhammer 3? And everybody is going to say, I can't tell you yet. You can get an indication about how I feel about it through my gameplay, but as for a review where I say, yes, I like it, or no, it's shit, I won't be able to say that until probably the day before. As for making like a full-fledged review, I don't want to like promise that I'm going to do it because honestly, reviews are a fucking pain in the ass to make. I hate making them. I might do it. It's just that I'm going to be very busy about other stuff during that time, and I might want to focus on other things. And I'm not a reviewer, so I don't put it. Yeah, basically that's a big maybe. I'll definitely give you my opinion one way or another because I intend to cover Warhammer 3 extensively. But yeah, just be aware that the true opinions won't come until like the day before, probably, unless they change that for this, which they may or may not. Well, I don't know. All right, content. Is Total Warhammer 3 going to be set during the end times? This has been covered loads of times. No, no stuff from Age of Sigmar. Although I think some of the models from Age of Sigmar, some of the demons are actually Age of Sigmar models, but I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, it's not set during the end times. What races will be available in Warhammer 3 at launch? Okay, so without reading this, I already know this stuff. So there are 6 main races and 1 DLC race. And of the main races, there are 9 legendary lords, and it's a little bit confusing. So a lot of people have predicted stuff around this. We know all but 3 legendary lords now. So with Cathay, you've got Miao Ying and Xiao Ming from Cathay. You've got in Kislev, Kastaltin, and Katarin. From Cinch, you've got Kairos Fate Weaver. From Khorne, you've got Scarbrand. And Nurgle, we haven't been released to yet, but I think it's going to be Kugath Plaguefather. And Slanesh, I think, is going to be Inkari, but I don't know about that one. Well, actually, I don't know about either of them. Now, as for the 9th one, most people have predicted Be'lakor, and that he will be part of, actually, the Warriors of Chaos, an existing Game 1 faction, and a DLC faction at that. So it could be No, I don't think they're going to do that. But imagine if they do this. In order to play as Be'lakor, you actually have to own the Warriors of Chaos DLC from Warhammer 1. We'll see. We'll see. I don't think that they'll do that. I think they'll just be like, even if you don't own the Warriors of Chaos DLC, which, let's be real, it's a shit DLC. Probably the worst race pack. I think it'll be Be'lakor, and I think he'll be part of the Warriors of Chaos. It makes sense. That Warriors of Chaos is essentially Chaos Undivided. They might just change the name to that, and maybe they'll get a bit of a rework. There's some evidence to that, and we'll get to that in a little bit. There's still a few more things here I want to cover. So is all this new Kislev and Grand Cathay content for Total Warhammer 3? Yeah, legit. Yeah. Is there? Yep. So that's talking about Mortal Empires. We already know that that's coming, and it will be called Mortal Empires. It might be called Immortal Empires. Will there be a Blood for the Blood God pack for Warhammer 3? Yeah, but it won't be available at launch. So we just have to be. That'll be like the first DLC, probably about 2 weeks after, and then probably Mortal Empires. But luckily, if you own Warhammer 1 or 2 Blood Pack, you'll get it for Warhammer 3. I don't like the Blood Pack, but I don't want to bang on about it. It's a lost cause at this point. Would you be continued support of Warhammer 2 after the launch? Yeah, so as soon as Warhammer 3 launches, Warhammer 2 is just going to straight up and die. That's what happened with Warhammer 1. Almost the entire player base migrated to Warhammer 2. People still play Warhammer 1, but nowhere near as much as Warhammer 2. And I imagine when Warhammer 3 launches, as long as it launches reasonably well, Warhammer 2 launched reasonably well. But not perfectly. Mortal Empires didn't have a strong launch. At least I felt like it was super buggy. And all the player base will just head over there. Because each iteration of Total War Warhammer, from 2 to 3, is not really a true sequel. They are expansions that build upon what came before, which I think is really good, but it's also a bit deceptive to say that it's a sequel when it's not really a sequel. It's an expansion. Whatever terminology you want to use, it doesn't really matter. I think it's good value. Whatever you want to call it, it's fine. All right, gameplay. What is Total Warhammer 3 Survival Battle? Yeah, we kind of covered this ages ago. We'll cover more about this sort of stuff later down the track when we've actually got more information. I'm sure more is coming soon, so I just want to glaze over that a bit. We'll come back to that at a later date. Will Warhammer 3 be localized? Okay, whatever. Hopefully it is localized in your language. Will Warhammer 3 have multiplayer support? Yes, we already covered that. Will Warhammer 3 support mods at launch? Yes, so that's good. All right, so next thing I want to touch on is this. Now, time to put on some tinfoil hat because I was super excited to see this. This here is a portion of the Warhammer 3 map. Don't care about all this other stuff over here. I'm only focusing on this glorious map here. Now, it's a little bit obstructed with this in the way, and it's double-sided, which means this is only half of the map, but there's some interesting stuff here. So the Realm of Chaos, I believe that is actually the center of the map, and that the rest of the Warhammer world, at least that's playable in the main game for Warhammer 3, will be it'll be basically looking as if it was from the North Pole, which will look really weird, I think, at first, but yeah, that's essentially the Realm of Chaos is the center of the map. Now, I don't know if there's going to be portals to get into the Realm of Chaos or if that's like water. It does have a darker color than the water over here, but I'm not entirely sure. Another thing to notice is that there are clear distinctions between provinces, but there is no clear distinctions of provinces in the Chaos Realm, leading me to believe that these might act like Oak of Ages sort of thing, where, like, if you're playing as Kairos Fateweaver, there is a, I can't remember what the bloody settlement was called, the Keep of Secrets? No, Keep of Secrets is this one. I can't remember. But there's like a settlement in the center of it. And if a Order faction gets over there, or even if a Demon faction gets over there, they can overthrow that particular settlement. And maybe it'd be like the Oak of Ages and just lose like a ton of bonuses faction-wise, even if you weren't the one that owned it. And maybe you can retake it for your Chaos God. Don't entirely know. But it doesn't look like there's going to be regions within the Chaos Realm. Because based on what we've seen here, we know where Kairos Fateweaver is going to start. He's going to start somewhere around here. So I think that all of the playable lords for the demons will all start outside of the Realm of Chaos and into the Chaos Wastes, because you don't actually have anything to do out here apart from the survival battle to defend or to attack the particular Chaos God. Another thing is that this area here, this is the Chaos Waste. This isn't Norska. This is actual Chaos Waste. Where Archaon usually starts is here. That's his usual start position, right? That there is where the Bearsenlings usually are, or the Goromandi. That's what it says there. And there's some more interesting stuff. So across over here, this here is Norska. So we've got the Vanaheim Mountains, the Hellspire Mountains, and then we go further down south. And what is this over here? Well, look at that. Nordland, Middenland, Reichland. Reichland's going to be available. I don't know if it's going to be playable, but it will be available to capture and maybe to interact with. So Karl Franz might be interactable in Warhammer 3 in the Grand Campaign. Because here's the thing, in Warhammer 2, in the Vortex campaign, no Legendary Lords from Warhammer 1 were interactable, with like one tiny exception. The Beastmen, and also you could fight Skarsnik as Grom in your campaign. But apart from that, unless there's exceptions here that I've forgotten about, no Legendary Lords would actually be present with the star position in Warhammer 2. But it seems like in Warhammer 3, there might actually be Warhammer 1 and 2 Legendary Lords playing at the same time as you in the main campaign. So here are some of the predictions that I have about possible Legendary Lords that'll be here on this map. So Karl Franz and Volkmar probably there. Looks like Solond is not there, so maybe no Balthazar Geld. Oh well. This over here, Peak Pass. So Azag usually starts there, I think. And I think that's Karak Kadrin. It's not to scale. I feel like if that's Sylvania there, it definitely should be further south than Reichland. But if that's Sylvania, of course it could be Ostermark, I don't know. But if that's Sylvania, then Manfred, Vlad, Helmengorst, and Isabella could start there. I don't know if there's any further out this way. We might see Heinrich Kemmler over here, maybe. We'll have to just wait and see. We've got the Silver Pinnacle should be about here somewhere, which Neferata isn't in the game yet, but I'm highly predicting that she will come at some point. We've got the Darklands over here, so there's the Plain of Zar. The Haunted Forest, this is where Eschen starts currently, like in I forget the name of the settlement, Flayed Rock, I think, over here. I don't know if I don't know anything really about who's starting here. They could make it that Eschen starts off in the Southlands in his Vortex position, but in Mortal Empires he does start the Haunted Forest. This here, right there, that's the Dragon Isles. So Malus could be starting there, and Imrik could be starting at the Fortress of Vorag, maybe. Who knows? And you could have Wulfric and Throg, and then you've got Kislev over here. And then you've got the Mountains of Morn, which I imagine Greasus Goldtooth will be somewhere in the center, and Scrag probably further in the south, maybe, I don't know. And over here we've got Cathay. Now I imagine there'll be more to Cathay. That's way too small to be considered like all of Cathay. But there's the Great Bastion right there. I think it kind of looks like it is pretty blurred out. I imagine when you get the physical copy of it, it'll be like really a high quality. This is just a screenshot of it. So I can't, if this is the highest quality, I can't imagine why anyone would want it. And then of course there's a back version which could possibly indicate other Warhammer 2 factions. Like if you keep going around this way here, over here you would have Nagaroth. So you might see Dark Elves, because Dark Elves definitely interact with the Realm of Chaos constantly. Well, at least the Chaos Wastes. And then over here is essentially more of Cathay, and maybe there'll be more out this way. I can't imagine it'll be further down south. But yeah, this is looking like a pretty good campaign map, at least to begin with. So yeah, I'm pretty hyped for that. All right, now moving on to something less hyped. Just bear with me while I get the screenshot back up. All right. Next thing I want to talk about is the Day 1 DLC, or the Early Adopter bonus, or cut content, whichever one you want to talk about it. So, I just need to get some sort of like foundation to where I'm standing with this. I'm excited to play Warhammer 3. I definitely want to support Warhammer 3. I don't like the Early Adopter bonus being implemented the way it is, because there is currently, in my opinion, no incentive to actually purchase it right now. Anyway, so the early adopter bonuses, the Ogre Kingdoms, you get, 2 Legendary Lords. We've already discussed about that. Cool trailer, which I agree. I think it's a cool trailer. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about Day 1 DLC. Okay. Now, this really comes down to what's best for you as a consumer, and only you can really decide about this sort of stuff. I have no power in this regard, but I think it's just important that you make an informed decision about what you do, because you have all the power, and it's really important that you understand that when you make a purchase, you are influencing future decisions that Creative Assembly will make, and it's really important that you should always expect as much as you can out of them, okay? Because this is a company that makes a lot of money from you from Total War Warhammer. Make no mistake about that. You have the right to ask for a premium service if you're going to pay a premium price, okay? And you definitely are. Now, I think that Total War Warhammer 3 will be worth it, but is it worth purchasing today? No, because you don't get anything out of it, okay? Is the Ogre Kingdoms going to be a good DLC? Probably, I don't know, but you're not going to get it today, okay? I don't purchase my meals 4 months in advance. You should not purchase anything so far in advance that it's not like it's a limited copy of anything as well. Like if you were getting a limited edition, pre-order now to get the limited edition. Fair enough, there's a limited number you want to get in the door. I understand that, but this is a digital copy. There's an unlimited supply of this. However you want to spend your money is entirely up to you. But if I was in your position, this is what I would do. And again, you don't have to follow what I do. But I would not pre-order Warhammer 3 with everything currently considered. I would definitely purchase it, but I would purchase it on the 15th of February, because there's usually 1 or 2 days in which you can preload the game, which is a good business practice, because that allows you to have the game ready to be installed, and as soon as it unlocks, you just go straight in. It also puts less burden on the Steam servers, otherwise like it just totally crashes. So that's really good. So you purchase it like 2 days beforehand. Make sure that Steam has plenty of time to install the game, so that when the February 17th comes in, you're just ready to go, play the game with all of its glory and its bugs and whatever. So if I was going to recommend a date to purchase Warhammer 3, I would say, assuming it's good, and of course I'll give you my opinions before then, I would say it would be February 15th. So if you're sitting there wondering about my opinion about whether I think you should pre-order the game or not, my recommendation at this point here is don't pre-order it, because you're not getting anything out of it. And as I said before, I don't work for Creative Assembly, I work for you. It is not in your best interest to purchase Warhammer 3. Not only do you get nothing out of it, but you encourage bad behavior. Because, well, not to say bad behavior, but you encourage a business practice that doesn't serve you. Pre-ordering the game right now only benefits Creative Assembly. It only benefits one party. Now, I fully want to support Creative Assembly, but nothing can be one way. It always has to be one way. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. You pay me, I'll do this. That is a very fair way to do things. Under no circumstance should things be one way. And currently pre-ordering Warhammer 3 is a one-way transaction. You give money for a promise that you will eventually get something, which people who pay later down the track are going to get the exact same as you. You will not. You basically just get the sense of satisfaction and achievement of having it in your Steam library. And if that's worth the 60, 80, however much money it is for you, in your currency, to have it in your Steam library for the next 4 months, awesome. Like I said, I'm not trying to tell you how to spend your money, but keep in mind that if Day 1 DLC didn't push pre-orders, then they would figure out some other way to do it. Now, one thing that I really wish Creative Assembly would have focused on, they probably didn't because of the pandemic, and totally understandable, and I can definitely give them some slack on that regard, so I don't want to be too hard on it, is I really liked the way that Warhammer 2 was marketed. Even though I was not hyped for Warhammer 2 at the time at all, because the way that Warhammer 2 worked was, and it's the only time Creative Assembly have ever done this, and I wish they would do it more, because I think it's such a good pro-consumer way to go about it, is that you pre-order Warhammer 2, and that before Warhammer 2 came out, you got Norska for Warhammer 1. Now, of course, this was predicated on the fact that you even had Warhammer 1. So if you pre-ordered Warhammer 2 and you didn't own Warhammer 1, well, then you essentially didn't get anything. But the thing is, with that kind of pre-order, it incentivized people to, if they hadn't already, to purchase the first game, which meant they get Warhammer 1. This is why I made the prediction ages ago about the Chaos Dwarfs, because I felt like they were going to build on that if they made the Chaos Dwarfs as the pre-order race, because there's room for them in Warhammer 2's campaign map, and it would encourage people to purchase Warhammer 1 and 2 And that way you're encouraging people to purchase all 3 products. Everybody benefits from it in that part. You pay some money, you actually get something in return. And I thought it'd be a really sizable thing. That's why I predicted the Chaos Dwarfs. And the reason I predicted Chaos Dwarfs over Ogre Kingdoms is because the Chaos Dwarfs currently fit better into the map than Ogre Kingdoms. But I was completely wrong. And, my powers of prediction are bad. That's just how it is. And now I need to donate $500 to a charity of your choice. Which, by the way, follow me on Twitter if you really want to see what the outcome of that, because I'll post information about that over the next few days, among other things that are going to be on Twitter. So yeah, need to follow me on Twitter. I'll put a link in the description. Anyway, but if you don't want to follow me on Twitter, I don't care either. It's just if you want that information. But I feel like that even though Norska was poorly implemented into Warhammer 2, it was really well implemented into Warhammer 1. So I really applauded that particular marketing strategy. And maybe it's possible that Creative Assembly wanted to do that, but were hamstrung by the pandemic. That's possible. So if that is the case, sorry for going hard on you on that, but I do not like Day 1 DLC. I don't approve of it, and I'm not going to push pre-orders. I'm just not. So I will still push, if you want to purchase on Instant Gaming, go for it, but I am not going to push for any kickbacks on Warhammer 3 pre-orders, because I'm not getting behind it right now. I will support it when it is the right time for you guys to purchase it, which is not now, which is unfortunate because I wish I could be pushing it. I think that's probably where my biggest disappointment is. I want to be more involved with this project. I've invested a lot of time into Warhammer 2. A lot of time, nearly 13,000 hours. I'm actually trying to get to 1.3 hours for the Horned Rat. I'm almost there, actually. Anyway, into this. And I do love the franchise, but it's so important that it's pro-consumer because it benefits the game as well. That's my opinion as well. Now, if you think I'm way off base, feel free to let a comment down below. And if all of you guys in unison are like, no, Legend, you're wrong. Pre-order now is the best way to do it because we want to give money to the developers, then I will shut up about it in future because like I said, I work for you guys, and if that's what you want, that's what you get. I'm to say that's not the best that you can get. You can ask for better. Maybe not necessarily during the pandemic, but in future. That's entirely up to you. So that's my thoughts. Because I haven't really been very involved in the whole Warhammer 3 marketing yet, and I think the Warhammer 3 marketing hasn't been very good, and it might be because of the pandemic, which sucks. But and there's still a few months left to go. But I think myself and a bunch of other creators, all we've really been getting is crumbs, and I've complained a lot about it. Trailers and blogs, and it's really boring. As people who are creative, it's not creative to read out blogs, which you guys can read for yourselves and oftentimes interpret them better than what I do. So I just feel like I want to be more involved in Warhammer 3, and I'm not, and it's annoying me. But that might be alleviated later down the track, so we'll see. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the pre-order bonus. If you want to go and do it, go and do it. But I just want you guys to make an informed decision, and that you're going to get the exact same thing that everybody else is going to get on the 15th or whenever that you purchase. Okay, so however you spend your money is entirely up to you. And you might think, well, it's only this much. It's sitting there burning a hole in your account. Let me tell you this: that money never is a burden. Okay, spend it, don't spend it. Just do it wisely. That's what I would recommend, because you never know how much of it you're gonna have. I've been broke before. I'm not gonna talk about it right now, but let me tell you, not fun. Anyway, let's go back to the blog just briefly, and there's still one more thing to cover, and that is live streams. Now, I guess it's a bit of people have been asking a lot on the comments, and I have been seeing them. I haven't been responding to them, but I have been seeing them. When is he coming back to live streams? Originally, I was only going to take a couple of days off. Then I was only going to take a week off. And now I've nearly taken 2 months off from live streaming. And the reason for that is because I could. The channel didn't up and die like I kind of suspected it would. One of the main reasons that I kept going for so long, live streaming every day nonstop, is because I was kind of suspecting that if I stopped, the whole channel would die, and it just didn't happen. So I took a bit longer. It allowed me to get a lot more of other shit that I had neglected in order, and got my mental health back in order, because I was a grumpy boy, and some people might enjoy Grumpy Legend a little bit, but it gets old pretty quickly, I think. But I have fully recovered now. And so, to the question, when am I returning to live stream? Never, I'm retiring. No, I'm just kidding. I will be coming back, and there will be information about that on Twitter. So go over there and find out about that soon. But I will be coming back fairly soon. But the exact date, you'll find out if you go to Twitter. Anyway, that's the end of this one here, guys. I hope you guys are hyped, and I hope you guys do end up getting what you paid for, you know, getting a good product. I have a lot of confidence that Warhammer 3 will be great, but I can definitely make a distinction between Warhammer 3 as a product and Warhammer 3 as a marketing. And man, I am not behind the marketing right now. I'm totally behind the product, just not behind the way it's marketed. I just wish it could be done a bit better. But, you know, who am I? I'm just some YouTuber. Anyway, that's the end of this one. Appreciate you guys, and I'll see you next time, fuckers. Bye.